Yes, the relay on YouTube. Check it out. Lots of stories about me on there. All the boxing facts and info that you want in a very entertaining, educational manner. The relay. Check it out on YouTube.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay where we're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. Two-division champion Natasha Jonas warns Mikaela Mayer she has to be careful what she wishes for because she might get it. Mikaela's going to be in action this weekend opposite the ring. Italy's own Sylvia Bortot on the undercard of Liam Smith versus Chris Eubank. Beyond that, she's gunning for a fight with Natasha. Natasha, who says, I understand why she's going for me. The same reason why I jumped up the weights. I actually do think she's a great fighter. She was unfortunate, in my opinion, not to get the decision against Baumgartner. I had her winning, Jonas told Sky Sports. I think she will be a better fighter at 147. I know because I moved up and it benefited me not to be so drained. It's a great fight. She's a good name. She's internationally well-known, well-respected. Another boxer gunning for Jonas is Olympic gold medalist Lauren Price. Lauren is also going to be in action this weekend opposite the ring, Lolita Musea. On the undercard of Eubank versus Smith, too, the same as Mikaela Mayer. This weekend, if you're Natasha Jonas, at this point in your career, you've been there and done that, some of the biggest names in the sport of boxing. You're a two-division champion, you're getting up there in age, and you want to be a part of the biggest fights that you can be. That's not a Lauren Price fight, unfortunately.
It's not.
Price, with a handful of fights under her belt, feels ready for a clash with Natasha Jonas. However, Jonas prefers the scenario of facing Mayer. I think she being Mikaela Mayer, is a better name than Lauren, Jonas said. I don't mean that disrespectfully. I just think Lauren's still in the infancy of her journey, and I think a fight with me is just too soon. I will be speaking with Boxer, her promoter, and the top-ranked team pretty soon. I wouldn't be surprised if the talks happen this weekend, and we'll try to get something sorted out. I think it's a fight that I win. So let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can make happen. The fight with Mayer's a great fight, and if that's what she wants, she has to be careful what she wishes for, because she might get it.
It's too soon for Lauren Price.
Lauren's plenty skilled, plenty talented, great amateur background, Olympian, gold medalist, all that jazz. But in the pro ranks, she really has yet to make a splash. She has yet to establish herself as a name, whereas Mikaela Mayer, she's already there. She's already been a unified champion.
Natasha Jonas doesn't want to fight Lauren Price for the same reason Mikaela doesn't want to fight Caroline Dubois.
Caroline Dubois, like Lauren Price. Price is not an established name yet, not an established fighter. Exhibits a high ceiling and a lot of promise, great amateur background, all that good stuff.
But it's not hard to figure out why Mikaela would prefer to fight Natasha and why Natasha would prefer to fight Mikaela.
I saw this coming. I anticipated that the easiest fight to make for Mikaela Mayer that involves a big name and an alphabet title anywhere at or around these weights would have to be a Natasha Jonas fight. So here we are. Lauren Price may have to consider moving up in weight beyond this fight. If she means to fight for an alphabet title in the near future, she might have to go to 154. See about picking up one of the belts that Natasha used to hold. We know that at least one of them is going to be on the line in the upcoming Femke Hermans versus Mary Spencer rematch.
At least one.
Just thinking about the belt situation at 147, the way things are now, Natasha Jonas has the IBF. The other three alphabet titles will be on the line when Sandy Ryan takes on Jessica McCaskill, but they're over there on the matchroom side of things.
Sandy and Jessica.
So if you're Lauren Price, and you don't have access to Natasha, not at this time, and you're not about to cross over to Matchroom for the winner of Ryan versus McCaskill, the next best bet would be to move up the junior middle and see about picking up a title there.
One of the titles that Tasha used to hold.
At 154, Terry Harper has the WBA title. Terry Harper, she's about to fight Cecilia Brækhus in defense of that title. Terry's got the WBA. At least one of the other titles is going to be on the line in Hermans versus Spencer 2.
Which leaves two
other alphabet titles that Lauren Price can perhaps fight for.
It's a best bet.
A lot of good fights to be made anywhere in between 140, 147, and 154, but it is political. There are political boundary lines there, and the belt situation, it is complex.
So Lauren might have to move up. If she wants to fight for a title in the near future, she might have to move up to 54.
You figure that if Natasha Jonas and Mikaela Mayer manage to make a fight amongst themselves, the winner of the fight, whoever it is is likely going to target another big name fighter at or around these weights. Maybe Terry Harper,
if she ends up moving down.
perhaps the winner of Sandy Ryan versus Jessica McCaskill.
They're right there at welterweight, but what about the politics?
Well, I think the winner of Jonas versus Mayer would still elect to see about doing that fight before they gamble on an unbeaten up-and-comer like Lauren Price. There's just not much in it for them fighting Lauren Price.
Not right now.
Winner of Mayer versus Jonas is going to want another big name, another established fighter at the weight, and I could see the winner of that fight targeting the winner of Ryan versus McCaskill for a unification match.
Boxer in the Matchroom would have to sort that out, but anything is possible. Need I remind you, Matchroom was willing to send Alicia Baumgartner over to Boxer for the Mayer fight.
So, that's the lay of the land between 147 and 154. In men's super lightweight and welterweight news, per a tweet from ESPN Ringside, Top Rank sent an official request to the WBO with hopes of naming junior welterweight champion Teofimo Lopez as the organization's super champion. A super champion gets certain privileges, like being named mandatory challenger for a champion in a higher or lower division, extended time to make mandatory title defenses, and more. WBO President Francisco Varcel told ESPN.
No, I don't think it's Top Rank's intention to use Teofimo's WBO super champion status if he gets it.
I don't think it's their intention to put Teofimo in the ring with Terence Crawford, per se, for a number of reasons. One being that Terence Crawford, he's all tied up with Errol Spence. News broke yesterday that Errol has activated his rematch clause. There's that to consider, but there is also Terence Crawford leaving the division, leaving the weight.
In tandem with what it would cost to bring Terence Crawford back over to the Top Rank side of things, he's an undisputed champion now, an undisputed champion again. You won't get him for cheap.
We'll remember quite famously that Bob Arum stated he could build a house on Beverly Hills based on how much money he poured into Terence Crawford's career and how much he lost. When their relationship ended, Terence Crawford, Bob Arum, and Top Rank, it didn't end on the best of terms. So I really don't think it's their intention to get back into the Terence Crawford business. What this really is,
they want to get Teofimo that WBO super champion status, so when the time comes, he can move up to 147 and challenge for the WBO title straight away. The WBO title that could go vacant very soon.
It's what they're banking on. In the WBO's ranked standings, Golden Boy Promotions is Alexis Rocha. He's in the pole position to pick up the title should it go vacant. Golden Boy Promotions and Top Rank don't have a strained relationship. Bob and Oscar are willing to work with one another. So you anticipate that perhaps not this year, but at some point next year, after Teofimo does what he does at 140 and he stays in the winner's bracket, if he does, he can then move up to 147.
Think about it.
Now, there are a number of good fights, great fights to make for Teofimo at 140 pounds, but how many of them are realistic and how many of them are right around the corner? A Devin Haney fight almost immediately comes to mind, but Devin is on the eve of challenging Regis Prograis for his belt.
We don't know what's going to happen with that yet.
Does Devin Haney win? Does Devin Haney lose? If Regis Prograis stays champion, how realistic is a fight between Regis and Teofimo?
Bob Arum is willing to work with Oscar De La Hoya, but he hasn't been as willing to work with Eddie Hearn, work with Matchroom.
The upcoming fight with Devin Haney for Regis would be only the second fight of his 3-fight deal with Matchroom. Beyond that fight, he could still be under contract with them, and I'm not sure how things work out in a situation like that. You think about Ryan Garcia. Now, he's campaigning as a super lightweight, and he's set to return to action sometime in the fall.
That'd be a nice high-profile fight for Teofimo.
Things are somewhat immaterial when it comes to Ryan Garcia. I believe it's Oscar's intention to put Ryan in the ring with O'Hara Davies for what could be the WBA super lightweight title. Things have to...
Smoke's got to settle a bit for Ryan. Things are very immaterial right now, very murky.
Yeah, fight with Subriel Matias for Teofimo Lopez, that'd be right up the hardcore's alley, but that's not a big commercial fight, you understand. Commercially, I'm not sure how receptive the people at Top Rank would be to putting their guy Teofimo in there with Subriel Matias, who's currently on the PBC side of things, and he has a mandatory to satisfy in Shohan Ergashev. We'll see what happens with that.
This is what I mean.
There are lots of good potential matchups to make for Teofimo. at 140. But how many of them are realistic? How many of them are actually being worked on, coming down the pipeline?
This is what I mean.
How many? There are many names you can mix and match alongside Teofimo's at 140 pounds, but how many of those fights are actually being worked on? This move to have him crowned a WBO Super Champion seems to me like an investment for the future.
The not-so-distant future, but the distant future still.
They're talking about bringing him back in the fall months on Heisman night, presumably against either Arnold Barboza or Jose Ramirez. Former unified super lightweight champion Jose Ramirez. I'm of the opinion that if he's going to fight either one of those two guys, it'll be Jose, because Jose's a little bit more well-known, sells well on the West Coast, and he's got more name value.
Teofimo Lopez, at least in the past, has blown off the idea that he should face Arnold Barboza. Compared to a Jose Ramirez fight, there's more in it for him in a Jose Ramirez fight than a Barboza fight.
I think there is, so the condensed version. I think Teofimo will return in the fall. He'll likely face Jose Ramirez. As far as petitioning for WBO Super Champion status, they want to have that in their back pocket for the future.
Depending on what does or doesn't happen at 140 pounds, he can always move up. He can always fight Alexis Rocha, provided Alexis wins the WBO title.
While on the face of it, some might interpret this move as Teofimo inching towards a Crawford fight.
On the surface,
You've got to look a little deeper. We've known for a while now that Terrence isn't staying at welterweight. By the time Teofimo moves up, he won't be there.
this ain't about Terrence.
This is about trying to crown Teofimo Lopez a 3-division champion, depending on what does or doesn't happen at 140.
They've got that in their back pocket. That is, they will, if the WBO grants him that status.
The WBO might. Bob Arum has always had a way with the WBO.
Is it unethical?
Not really. Teofimo Lopez has already been WBO champion at 2 weights. He was WBO champion at 135 after he beat Vasyl Lomachenko, and he's currently WBO champion at 140, having beat Tosh Jailer.
So no, I don't think it's unethical for Teofimo to pursue WBO Super Champion status. It's not unethical.
We'll see what happens. Now, as it pertains to Ryan Garcia, who filed a motion to dismiss Golden Boy Promotions' complaint. Boxing star Ryan Garcia filed a motion to dismiss Golden Boy Promotions' complaint against him on Monday in U.S. District Court of Nevada, a copy of which was obtained by ESPN. This was back in August, towards the end of it. Garcia argued his contract with Oscar De La Hoya's promotion stipulates that any disagreement be mediated before filing a lawsuit. Golden Boy filed suit against Garcia on June 16th to enforce its contract with the boxer.
This is what I meant when I said that the situation with Ryan is murky.
That lawsuit Golden Boy filed was a response to a demand letter from Garcia's legal team on June 9th alleging violations of the promotional agreement, as well as California and federal law that invalidate the contract. The letter called for mediation proceedings to begin the week of July 10th if Golden Boy didn't cure all the alleged contractual breaches. Rather than stand by their boxer, De La Hoya and his co-owners of Golden Boy took to social media to disparage him, the motion alleged. In a sport where the exploitation of boxers is legend, De La Hoya and Golden Boy have written a new chapter.
People in the know will point to Lupe Valencia, Ryan Garcia's legal counsel. He's the one behind all of this.
Steven speculated that he has ties to Al Heyman, and what he wants to do with Ryan is have him jump ship at Golden Boy to join the PBC roster.
That's what they say.
It's alleged in the motion that Golden Boy failed to fulfill its payment obligations to Garcia, didn't honor broadcast commitments to the fighter, and violated a non-disparagement provision in the contract. Golden Boy did not agree to cure the breaches identified in the June 9th letter, and did not agree to or participate in any mediation proceedings. The motion stated, rather Golden Boy rushed to court and publicly filed the instant lawsuit. If the lawsuit against Garcia is dismissed, it could pave the way for Garcia and Golden Boy to work together on a fight before the end of the year. Garcia suffered his first career defeat back in April when he met Gervonta Davis in a super fight.
If I had to guess, what Lupe Valencia wants to do is invalidate the existing contract Ryan has with Golden Boy so that he's free to go.
Both De La Hoya and Garcia himself confirmed that he made around $30 million for the fight.
It's a lot of money.
Golden Boy has been proud to have worked with Ryan Garcia for the last several years and to help catapult him to the kind of stardom that led to boxing's biggest pay-per-view event in years just 2 months ago. Golden Boy Promotions stated in June after the lawsuit was filed, with this filing, we are seeking to ensure that Ryan and his team will honor the remainder of his contract, a contract that Ryan Garcia himself called one of the most lucrative boxing deals for a prospect in the history of the sport.
As stated, what Lupe Valencia hopes to do is either invalidate the contract so that Ryan is free to go, or force a mediation where they can renegotiate terms.
Golden Boy doesn't want to do that. What Golden Boy wants is for Ryan to honor the existing deal. When Garcia signed an extension with Golden Boy back in September of 2019, the contract included a carve-out that allowed him to fight on pay-per-view with any network. According to the June 9th letter, despite the language, Golden Boy advised Garcia that his April mega fight with Gervonta Davis could not happen unless it was a broadcast on DAZN because of an exclusive agreement Golden Boy had separately negotiated with DAZN.
That was a stumbling block.
As a result, both Showtime and DAZN platforms ended up distributing the pay-per-view.
Well, the fight's over. Why is Ryan moaning about that now?
Ryan Garcia, 24, also argued in the June 9th letter that Golden Boy violated California's 7-year rule for personal service agreements. He signed with Golden Boy Promotions on November 1st of 2016 and re-signed on September 18th in 2019. Garcia claims the contract should terminate on November 1st. De La Hoya himself argued that Top Rank violated the 7-year rule when he sued Bob Arum's company back in 2000.
History repeats itself.
Garcia also accused Golden Boy of failing to satisfy Ali Act disclosures and asked Golden Boy to amend agreements with DAZN that say Garcia isn't exclusive to the streaming service.
He wants his freedom.
The boxer is also looking to be reimbursed for fees he paid DAZN to allow the Davis fight to proceed. Golden Boy said it attempted to resolve the matter, but was rebuffed and instead received claims from Garcia in the form of the demand letter. Golden Boy declined to comment on the motion to dismiss its lawsuit when reached by ESPN on Tuesday.
So like I told you, it's murky. It's not all sunshine and rainbows between Ryan and Golden Boy Promotions.
And now what Oscar's saying is that they've got a date for Ryan in November, possibly for a 140-pound title.
The WBA title.
We have a date for him in November, De La Hoya said of Garcia in an interview with Fight Hub TV. We're figuring out the opponent. We feel that Ryan at 140 can be a force to be reckoned with. We did sign a couple of fighters who are number one contenders. The belts can possibly be at stake. So given the fact that Rolly is in recess, I believe he got injured. Something was wrong with him. Whether it's his back or his arm, I'm not really too sure. He's a fighter in recess, so now there's going to be some opportunities there to possibly have Ryan fight for a world title. The contender he's talking about is O'Hara Davies, the mandatory challenger to Rolly Romero.
If they can force the WBA's hand and force them to strip Rolly Romero, the title will go to O'Hara, who can then defend it against Ryan.
But De La Hoya seemed to stir the pot recently when he needled Garcia on social media for hanging out with Floyd Mayweather, one of De La Hoya's oldest rivals, come antagonists. But he responded more nonchalantly regarding Garcia's association with Mayweather in the same Fight Hub interview. I don't know what that's all about, but it's none of my business. Any fighter can hang out with any fighter. That's just the nature of the beast. It really doesn't matter. On the contrary, I think Ryan hanging out with Floyd, he can get a lot of knowledge from Floyd because he's one of the best boxers out there, or was. I know for a fact that Floyd isn't giving him any business advice, but I know that Floyd can give him some fight advice. And if Ryan soaks it in and listens to him, yeah, it can only help him.
You get the gist of it. Ryan wants to jump ship and Oscar doesn't want to let him.